Good evening, Sundeep.
Good evening, Sampath.
So good to have you today in Jam and Sam. I've been for last many years, been asking, come, 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 come. So finally, the resilience has paid off and he's on the show. Great. So, Sandeep, a bit about your life. Where did you grow up? Which school, college you attended, and what was your lesson?
Well, I spent my childhood in Dombivli,
Hmm.
which is a suburb on the Central Railway. You are not familiar. And that's where I did my schooling. And then I went to Sydenham College for my undergraduate studies. And then I went to Oxford.
Okay. Great. What was one lesson you learned? How did you get into political science and that kind of stuff?
Well, one lesson I learned from my circumstances during my childhood is resilience.
Hmm.
Because I spent my childhood on the borderline of slums.
Okay.
And I lived a very rough life where I was growing up, financially, socially, and from all points of view. I used to be involved with split gangs, bit up people, get beaten up.
Oh.
So, and I wanted to become a dada. That was my that was my ambition. And then when I went to Sydenham, I studied commerce. And then I got a scholarship to go to Oxford, which was a full scholarship and one of the most unusual scholarships ever given by Oxford University. There were 3,000 students bidding from 100 countries and there was only one scholarship.
Wow.
And scholarship provided everything. I had no money. I left India with 12 pounds in my pocket at that time. And the scholarship was covered everything. And that's how I could go there.
Wow. I never knew this. We know each other for almost, I think, 30 years now. So I never knew this other side. Great, super. A bit about your family, parents, siblings.
So my mother passed away when I was very young, when I was 6 years old. My father passed away when he was rather young, when he was just 60 years old, which is not very old these days, And during those days, I used to live in Stockholm, so I couldn't even come back to India when he passed away. I have two sons. One is here with me in Mumbai, though he works half the time in Pune with an educational institution. And the other one is in Paris, and he's just in the process of settling down in Paris. He's working in Paris.
Super. So did you work anywhere, because the LinkedIn profile didn't say anything, did you work anywhere before studying first?
I was a diplomat for a couple of years, from 96 to 98 in Stockholm.
Wow.
So in Sweden. That's the only job I've had. Otherwise, I haven't really worked anywhere. I finished at Oxford in 1983, and ever since then I've been on my own, except the 2 years in a diplomatic career.
Wow. So did you pick up any, being part as a diplomat, did a lot of, what was your learning from there?
Unfortunately, I met with a mishap while I was in Stockholm.
Oh.
My second son was born, Rahul, who is now in Paris. And there was an accident in the course of his birth. And when he was brought out of the birth room, basically doctors told me that he had maximum 12 minutes to live on the earth.
Oh.
And they were taking him to another hospital, which is the one which gives Nobel Prize for medicine. And they said, we will try, but it will take 12 minutes to go from here to there. And I couldn't go because it was an extremely highly specialized ambulance. So I was not allowed to enter the ambulance. It was not a normal ambulance. So I was following up in a car. And they said, do you look at his face now? Because 12 minutes of journey, and by the time we go there, he probably won't exist. So I said, no, you are wasting half a minute in doing all this. You just start. And I went there. He survived. And then he had the accident resulted in all his nerves breaking down, going from head to the rest of the body. Most of his major nerves were broken down. And such an accident had not happened in entire Scandinavia, not only Sweden, but Scandinavia. So the doctors were trying their best to find a solution, but it was not easy. So I also got involved in finding a solution. And I got on the internet, I got through the diplomatic machinery, activated Indian embassies in different parts of the world. and we tried to see if anybody had a solution at all. And we found that the Columbia University in New York had handled such a situation 5 years earlier. So we contacted the research department at Columbia University, and they guided us by phone as to how to perform an operation. When he was 14 days old, they performed an extremely delicate operation to connect his nerves. So I was managing that, and then after that, slowly I got in touch with 4 or 5 scientists around the world, and so they were guiding me by phone how to monitor the case, and then with their input, I was negotiating with the doctors in Stockholm. And this drama went on for 7 months. From the moment of birth, he was in the hospital 7 months, but he came out. He's completely fine now, and he's settling in Paris. He speaks fluent French. He's specialized in international development, and he now, in fact, working in an organization that deals with rare diseases.
Amazing.
So my lesson was resilience again. That you have to respond to the situation. You have to be resilient. You don't have to give up, and be creative also.
Fantastic. Okay, so quick gun Sam, work from home or work from office?
Work from heart. Home or office doesn't matter if you're working from heart.
Super. A city you love the most?
Oxford. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Soul food you can always eat?
Pitla Bhakri.
Politics or economics?
Both are interlinked.
So we'll come down to strategic foresight. It was first called as ICPI, na? International Center
That was a different organization,
Okay.
which preceded Strategic Foresight Group.
Okay. So where did you start, and what was the thought behind starting strategic foresight?
Before starting Strategic Foresight Group, there was an NGO called International Center for Peace Initiatives, which I had founded. And so part of the work we were doing there was negotiating with terrorists. So I was involved I negotiated with almost most of the terrorists in Kashmir, for example. Later on, we got into negotiating with terrorists in the Middle East, Hamas, Palestine, Jihad, and others. That was in Strategic Foresight Group. So when I was negotiating with terrorists, they always used to look back, and they used to say, we are in terrorism because this injustice was done 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 100 years ago, or whenever. And I used to tell them, look, whatever happened. Now you tell me, how do you want to look ahead? Where do you want to be 10 years from now? And I'll help you to come out of this terrorist network and build a future. So, and I found the governments also were facing the same problem. They also always used to look back, not look ahead. So I found the need to set up a process whereby major political actors, whether it is the government leaders or whether it is terrorists or whether it is others, would learn to look ahead rather than looking back and seeking justice on the basis of something that happened in the past. Rather build the future looking ahead. So if it is 2022 now, think of where do you want to be in 2032 or 2042, not what went wrong in 2012 and 2000 and 1998 and whatever. So when I took to the process, so Ilmas was working with me in ICPI, in the International Center for Peace Institute. So I and another colleague, we three got together and decided to create a scientific process to look ahead in future, mainly for the political sector. And so that is how Strategic Foresight Group was born.
Okay, great. How did COVID-19 affect SFG?
Until COVID-19, we had 20 full-time researchers working, plus a vast network around the world. After COVID-19, we decided to scale down substantially and change the nature of work. So we reduced the staff strength. But we were thinking about that much earlier because we were burnt out. We worked with 65 governments of 65 countries, and before COVID-19, we used to travel, both Ilmas and I, on an average 3 trips every month outside India. So we used to many times go Monday to Friday, come back here Saturday, Sunday, go again on Monday. I had even a fixed seat on Swiss. I normally used to travel Swiss airline, and I had a fixed seat. 4D. That was she had 4D, she had 4G. We always had a fixed seats on the aircraft. So it was that intense. So we were feeling burnt out. So anyway, we wanted to slow down. So COVID-19 provided an excuse. And so we slowed down, we helped the staff to get other jobs, and they're all well placed now. And then the travel stopped for a year. Now it has resumed again, but not 3 times a month. It's more like once in 3 months at the moment. It will increase eventually. And also, I wanted to write a book, Word Without War, and I was not getting time while running around the world. So COVID actually, the lockdown helped a lot, because lockdown meant being in the house, and I could focus on the book.
Tell us about the Normandy Manifesto.
So I was invited by the government of region Normandy in France to work with a group of Nobel laureates to prepare a manifesto for world peace. So for 6 months we were negotiating. There was a group of Nobel laureates, Mohammad Al-Bardai from Egypt, Lema Gobi from Liberia, Jody Williams from the US, and Denis Mukwege from Congo. And there was a philosopher who was not a Nobel laureate, Anthony Grayling from UK. So we worked for 6 months to prepare a blueprint for world peace. And then it was issued in Normandy on the 75th anniversary of Normandy landings. So that is what it was.
Okay. So you have written a very famous book right now, before the current one. It's in about 23 different languages. Tell us a bit about that book.
No, the previous book was not in 23 languages. It's only one language, Marathi.
Marathi, okay.
EKA DISHECHA SHODH, and it has been out in 24 editions.
24 editions.
24 editions, not 23 languages. 24 editions is just translated in Urdu and Hindi, and it was serialized in Kannada. But it's 24 editions all in Marathi. So that, in fact, 24th edition came out just yesterday, and it's now heading for 25th edition. So it's supposed to be one of the best sellers in Marathi language in the last 50 years, 50-60 years since independence. It's one of the 20 books that has crossed 25 editions, and this is about to reach 25 editions now in the history of literature. So that is there, but now my mind is focused on the current book, The Word Without War.
So he had gone for some event in somewhere out of Bombay, and he was talking about his book and all. So the hall had, I think, how many space? So how many people? 400, 500 people. The hall had space.
For the Marathi
For the
book,
Marathi
no,
book.
I had audience of at one stage 25,000. Yeah, for the book discussion, and normally 5,000, 6,000 normally.
You have to literally close the doors because people are still coming in. It was so popular.
And once there was a Sahitya Sammelan, the literary meet, Marathi literary meet. So there were 30,000 people, and there was a pandal that was made, and the capacity was 3,000-4,000. But I just think 30,000. The whole pandal only broke up because 30,000 people trying to come into a place which has got capacity for 3,000. So that book has become very popular. A lot of people say they changed their life reading the book. It's every politician in Maharashtra, whether it is Raj Thackeray or whether it is Sharad Pawar, they all mention the book in their election rallies. They say, I have read the book, because they think if they say in rural Maharashtra, I read the book, they'll get votes. So I don't think they have read. I don't know if they have read or not, but they just claim they have read. In fact, Raj Thackeray once called me and he said, I just want a photograph with you. So I went to his house. He invited me for lunch, and he just had a photograph. He said, I have to tell people that I met you and I have read the book. So it's given as a gift in weddings, it's given as a gift in schools. So it's entered the pop culture, especially in rural villages and small towns and Pune and all that.
What's the book?
What's the book
EKA
about?
DISHECHA
It's called EKA DISHECHA SHODH.
SHODH.
Search of a direction.
direction.
Search of a direction.
Is it in English?
No,
Okay.
I don't want it out in English. No, because I'll have to translate it. There is no other way we can hand it over to a professional, and there is no time.
Okay, so now finally we come to hashtag a world without war. That's what I've been telling you people to buy those books also. So read it. So tell us about this book.
So, A Word Without War. See, you earlier asked about Normandy Manifesto. So we were in Normandy, in Caen. That's the capital of Normandy. It's a town 2,000-year-old, and we were there with the Nobel laureates to issue the Normandy Manifesto. And 3 days we spent with them, and then we were thinking what to do next. And Ilma was there, and she suggested that now the Normandy Manifesto was a one-page document. So she said, why don't you write a longer essay or something? Then Oxford University invited me on 2nd October 2019. Normandy Manifesto was June 2019. Then Oxford University invited me 2nd October 2019, which was the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, to give a public lecture, an oration on Gandhi, Einstein and prospects of peace in the 21st century. So basically Normandy Manifesto ideas I developed into a longer speech, an oration, 45-minute speech. And then she was there and other friends were there, and from the House of Lords, from Britain and others, and they said, now, even longer. So that's how the idea of book was born. But I was not getting time to work on the book, or feeling like that fire that now I must really start. It was all the time lingering in my mind. I should work on the book, but running the organization, traveling all over the world, it was not possible. But then COVID happened and lockdown followed, and then when I was at home, I started working on the book. So I've been working like you go to office. Like I would go to my desk at 10 in the morning, and I would get up only at 6 in the evening for a walk, and just keep the phone away and everything. Only get up for half an hour for lunch, and so 10 to 6, except half an hour lunch break, I was working. So the book really talks about where the world is going, and which is going on a very dangerous path. So Bhuvna asks the question as to, will your money last until you die? I presume that's the hypothesis. But the question I am raising here, or rather I am arguing, is that will the earth last? Will humanity last? And there is a risk that in few years' time, it's not good news, but it's a reality, that in few years' time all of us might be dead in 5 years or 7 years, or 10 years. All means, I'm not just saying people in this room, but entire humanity, all human civilization could get wiped out. That risk is there, and it's a very serious risk, and people are not aware of the risk. Have you ever heard this before any time mentioning? So you wouldn't read about it in the newspapers, you wouldn't hear about it on the television. So this is something that the leaders don't want you to know about, and so I thought I must challenge all the world leaders and expose this fact with all the details. So it explains with details as to why our life is not just of any particular group of people, but of entire human civilization. Is at stake, and I'll give you a couple of reasons. There are 10,000 nuclear bombs, out of which 2,800 nuclear bombs are on a hair trigger alert, which means if the President of the United States or the President of the Russian Federation make a decision to launch an attack, the bomb will be off within 10 minutes. So there is no time to recall your decision. The missile will leave within 10 minutes. They are in alert. They are just ready to go. They are just in alert position. And the President of the United States and President of Russia always carry a black bag. If you see on television, there closely, you will see some security officer carrying a black briefcase behind them. In that briefcase, there is a code.
Nuclear launch codes.
Nuclear launch code which changes every day automatically. So all they have to do is to press the button, and within 10 minutes, some missiles will be off. And it won't be 1 or 2 missiles, but it will be hundreds of missiles which will be going off. And then normally a missile will take half an hour to reach from US to Russia, or from Russia to US or China. And so within a few minutes of taking decision, the attack will be launched. So it will be 10 minutes and another 30 minutes before the target is hit. And then the counter attack will be launched. And in approximately 7 to 8 hours, half the world's population will be wiped out, will become smoke, nothing, just zero, at least. And the rest of and these will be the lucky ones who die immediately. The rest will suffer radiation, nuclear winter, environmental impact, and the rest will die a slow death over a few months, like suffering, painful, all the time. And people are not aware of this. And we are supporting, the arms race. We are supporting nuclear bombs. We just say that go and bomb Pakistan, go and bomb China. Pakistanis say go and bomb India. If Pakistan bombs India, what will happen? They have already decided the bomb will be on Bombay, not on Delhi. This is already something decided by Pakistan military. If they drop a bomb, there are a normal size 2-3 bombs in near the gateway of India in the ocean, it will take approximately 28 to 30 minutes for the entire area from Mumbai to Pune to turn into smoke. Just it will become smoke. There will be no more human beings, no more buildings, no more nothing. Nothing. No more plants, no more trees, no more flowers, no more nothing. The entire part from Mumbai to Pune in half an hour, maximum half an hour, you will be all dead if you have a war with Pakistan. So you want to go and occupy occupied Kashmir, you go and occupy occupied Kashmir. In return, you be prepared for entire area from Bombay to Pune to become evaporated in half an hour. You want that, then go and occupy occupied Kashmir. So, because everybody wants to go and occupy Kashmir, so you pay this price, you finish the entire population from Bombay to Pune in half an hour, and then further population up to Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh and all to be suffering. So people are not aware, people are just demanding arms race, people are just demanding warfare. So it explains as to what are the realities. Now this is if the humans take a decision, like suppose some political leaders take a decision. But what is happening is beyond that. Now artificial intelligence is used, and now henceforth some of the missiles, it's not the humans who will decide, but the artificial intelligence will decide. And now the missiles, there are new missiles, Russia has, China has, US has. Iyengar is a missile used by Russia. So these missiles, they decide their own trajectory. So the missile goes up, and suppose you are a Russian and you send out the missile towards San Francisco. But missile decides on its own without any control of the military commanders where it will go. It can decide to hit New York instead of going to. So if it goes up and if it notices there are radars in San Francisco, it will go somewhere else. It will go to Nevada, or it will go to Kentucky, or it will go to New York, and it will hit there. So basically, this is a dangerous situation. People are not aware. Also, people are not aware that there are ways out of this situation, but it requires a lot of work and a lot of questioning of our hypothesis. So that's why I wrote this book. So that's why the title is not how are you going to end up in the war. The title is a world without war. How do you create a world without war? So that is what it is.
Everybody's got scared. I finished 2 chapters of the book, and like I said, shit. I mean, you have the doomsday clock. Everybody's heard about the doomsday clock.
21st December.
No, the doomsday clock is different. Why don't you speak about the doomsday clock?
So doomsday clock is in Chicago, and it's run by Nobel Prize winner scientist, physicist and chemist, and scientist in physics, chemist, mathematics, biology, in these subjects, and it shows how far the world is away from complete annihilation. Means not a small accident here or small accident there or a small war here or small war there, but end of humankind, complete end of humankind. How far is it away? So if the clock hand reaches 12 midnight, at that moment the world will be finished. And for last 75 years, that clock is moving, and they show. And, right now it is 100 seconds from midnight. That's how close we are from being wiped out as a human civilization. And this is not my making. This is the board of scientists, the world's leading scientists. They monitor the world's developments and they move the hand of the clock. And right now it is 100. Last 3 years it is steady at 100 seconds to midnight. My guess is it may move to 60 seconds to midnight next year. But I may be wrong. I'm not a scientist. The scientists make their own calculations. So, but it is now stuck up at 100 seconds to midnight. That's how close we are to be finished. So, if I were Bhuna, I would say actually blow up your money in next 5 years.
That sounds
This
humorous, but
assessment
the
has
kind
to
of
be
the kind of so these are see Putin and I think Biden is still there.
Biden.
Biden is still there. He's 80 plus. They are on that red. They have the direct call and they're able to talk to each other and all this stuff. But what about people like rogue states like Iraq, like Iran, and then our Kim Jong, who's like firing missiles like he's firing Diwali firecrackers. How do you control such people?
You know, Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons as of now. Iran plans to make, but so far they don't have a nuclear
So they're
weapon.
all
No, they don't have nuclear weapons. Kim Jong-un has, North Korea has, and that's going to be Kim Jong-un said 2 days ago, day before yesterday, he said that he is going to nuke United States, that he will finish San Francisco, Los Angeles, because it's closer, you know, from North Korea. If you go from the eastern side, if you travel to the east, then the west coast of the US is closer. So he said he will hit. He said, you trouble me as much as possible, but I'll finish Los Angeles and San Francisco forever. The entire population, your Bollywood, your whatever is called, Silicon Valley, everything I'll finish forever. And it will take him, again, 10 minutes to decide, 30 minutes for missile to travel, and another 30 minutes for Los Angeles to go up in the flames and radiation to take over. So he's been threatening. Everybody's hoping he doesn't exercise his threats, but he has been threatening. Now, suppose he does that and he wipes out San Francisco, Los Angeles. In return, you launch an attack on North Korea. I mean, you the Americans, they launch an attack on North Korea, and you finish the entire North Korea. But you finish North Korea at the cost of finishing San Francisco, half of California. And also when you launch an attack on North Korea and you finish entire North Korea, you will damage South Korea, you will damage part of Japan, you will damage part of China. So Chinese will also get involved. And within 24 hours, you will have a world war, and even we will be affected by that.
So it's a wake-up call. We all think of like, chalo usko bomb karo, ye karo. It's not easy. So I recommend reading his book. I mean, sit down a drink. Because you need a strong one. You need sit down without a drink. I mean, it's like really scary.
It gets better sometimes.
It takes better.
It gets better. It shows how to come out of it. That's what the book is
So that's
about.
the book is how to come out of it. And
How
now
to come out of it.
you have the killer drones which are there, which are being used in. Everybody's heard about them. So nobody's flying those anymore. You've seen all the terrorists being wiped out with this American with the Predator drones and all. So this technology and all this artificial intelligence is like really scary. The machines start thinking for themselves, and it'll become something like Terminator. I mean, you've seen what happened in Terminator, which is not a very good thing. Una is saying, no, you
No,
save your money. It's okay.
There is another experiment being made. We've been talking about nuclear weapons, but there is an experiment being made in the biological area also.
Yeah.
So now the Americans in the Craig Venter laboratory, they are developing a germ. They can produce a germ, a pathogen in the laboratory, and that pathogen will be able to absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. So they are deliberately making that pathogen, that germ, which will absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. So their idea is, because of global warming, they want to absorb the heat. But once you have a technology to absorb CO2, you could have in 20 years technology which will absorb O2, oxygen. And this is one of the biggest dangers that the world is facing. So before our lifetime is over, even if we escape a nuclear war, you may find a situation, a biological weapon, a germ, which will absorb O2, and one fine day everybody is dead without oxygen. So that could happen further down the line. So if you escape nuclear war, you have biological war waiting for you, and biological weapons waiting for you. So next 30-40 years, there is no guarantee of life, unless you revise the entire global structure. That is what the book is about, how to change that, how to change that. And fortunately, people are taking serious. I just had a meeting with Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar last week. I was
I
with
shared
him.
the photo. In the
So I was with Jaishankar, and I found a lot of sanity in his talk. He said that we are realizing what you are saying. I told him, sir, I made a plan as to how you come out of it, and it may sound like a dream or utopia. He said, no, it's not utopian. It's actual necessity today. We want to find a way out. This is what he told me last week. So I've been having rounds of meetings with many world leaders. We'll see what the impact is.
So the future is not bleak. There is alcohol after the meeting also. So if you don't drink, also take that. That may be your last thing. So this is what I mean. I learned so much. I mean, we have been. He's been my customer and a friend the last so many years. But today I really got to learn a lot about it. That's what Jan with Sun does.